Well, good morning, and thanks for tuning into the Weather Channel. I'm Kim Perez alongside of Dave Schwartz this hour. And you folks in Florida have definitely had your share of rainfall this summer, but the poor folks in the Northeast, they have hardly had a drop of rain to speak of. And the thunderstorms that rumbled through Boston earlier today produced, well, about 1/10 of an inch of rain. Not very much. Now, that's about all the rain the city has seen this month. Now, for the year, they're about 11.5 inches in the hole. And for the next few days, Bostonians will just have to enjoy the clear skies and mild temperatures and no rain. Well, meanwhile, the folks in Oregon got experience with condensation in a different form, fog. Now, fog reduced visibility to about a quarter. Temperatures were quite a bit warmer, highs in the mid to upper 80s. Now, the forecast is we're supposed to look at some more fog and through the evening hours around Astoria, and could reduce visibility to a quarter mile or so. And even some fog in the forecast for the Ohio Valley down in through Georgia, where a lot of residual moisture after the thunderstorms earlier today and on the front. So if you're heading out this morning, take a look at the forecast and see if fog could be a hindrance to your drive. Now, as far as departures from normal, especially in the Pacific Northwest, where we had fog, was a big problem yesterday morning. Temperatures were definitely not a problem. We had record highs, at least tying the record, around Oregon, and that was 92. Meanwhile, most of the Pacific Northwest, mainly the West anyway, was way above normal. Now, down here across Texas, things were a little bit below normal, and that's because of Hurricane Ismael. A lot of the moisture from that, a lot of the cloud cover from that moved into Texas, and we had a lot of rain today, and just kept things really kind of crummy down in that area. Now, here's Portland. Let's take a look at some of the statistics here. The high for Thursday was 92, and the forecast a little bit cooler for tomorrow, about 89. Now, the average September high is 77. So, again, they are pretty much above normal for this time of the year, and I'm sure they are not at least sad about that fact. Okay, now the forecast again, 89, but partly cloudy skies for Portland on Friday. And the ridge will continue across the Northwest, and that's what's keeping things pretty toasty in that area. The jet stream, though, across the Northern Plains, a different story. Will bring a lot of those cold fronts that bring the cold air, at least the cooler air, with it down across this area. And that's where we're seeing the frost advisories for northern Wisconsin, a large part of Michigan here. Meanwhile, the Southwest is contend with Hurricane Ismael. What will happen to Ismael? Well, the forecast is to bring it into New Mexico. Maybe not as a tropical storm, but the remnants of it and a lot of the moisture from it will move into New Mexico and Arizona, bring lots of heavy rainfall and possibly flooding conditions here. So we need to really be careful if you're heading, driving across the roads in New Mexico and Texas over the next several days. Cool air, though, the rule for the Northern Plains, not looking too bad. And unfortunately, the drought continues for the Northeast. And there's the high pressure that will bring the dry air. The front went through. We had some showers. We did have some severe weather in New York and in Massachusetts, and Stockbridge had some severe weather last night as the thunderstorms moved through, but the front now is well offshore, and again, by the morning hours, won't even have to worry about it. A lot of that moisture in the morning hours will bring the rains in through New Mexico and Texas, and by the afternoon, again, just getting inundated with rain. We can't emphasize enough how much rainfall they could be getting. Probably 5 to 6 inches possible in the mountains, so again, we're in a serious situation here with a lot of that tropical moisture moving into that area. Now, across Florida, well, with the front kind of down in this area here and ahead of it some impulses, we could see some more thunderstorm activity for tomorrow. Now, behind the front, look at the temperatures in the 30s and 40s for Friday morning, and that's why we're seeing those frost advisories up for the Great Lakes area. Now, in the 60s and 70s in this area, and that's because of all the moisture and the cloud cover. It will keep things pretty warm in this area and kind of sultry, and again down in the Southwest in the 80s, which is kind of normal for this time of the year. One more time of 80s, I'd say one more day of 80s before the next front gets through, and we won't see 80s for a long time after that. And as you can see here, 70s already starting to lurk in the ways there, and the 50s, and by Tuesday, check this out, looks pretty cold there. Now, so thunderstorms will continue across the east, and looks like maybe Sunday, Monday, chance of showers and thunderstorms for the Northwest. Pacific Outlook coming up next, and we'll talk about some of the record highs. Let's come back and join us.
Yes, it's coming to me. Just a moment. Hello, happy psychic helpers.
Some interesting features here. Well, We don't see much here in the interior sections, and we'll take a look at these high temperatures. Things got really warm in this area here, but along the coast, now we had fog, we had low clouds. As you can see, we still have low clouds along the coastal areas, Astoria all the way down to southern Oregon along the coastal areas. Temperatures a little bit mild today with low clouds again and some fog that, lifted and had low clouds for most of the day. There's some of the highs, 92 around Portland, and for Portland, that's way above normal for this time of the year. Their normal is about 77, so we're looking for temperatures a little bit cooler tomorrow, about 89, and for Central California, though, very warm in the mid-90s for the interior sections, and again for the south. Look at this, still in the 100s in the deserts, looking pretty good. Next, we have European weather with Dave Schwartz.
Presenting a better way.
Uncover the secrets of weather. Experience a Force 4 hurricane. Chase a tornado. Find out how weather research is being conducted today. Exposures. Travel with the Weather Channel as we relive some of the most intriguing weather phenomenon in history. Watch Exposures every Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on the Weather Channel.
Well, it's time for the tropical update in this very busy tropical season. We've already had 13 named storms. We're down to Marilyn now, which is our 7th hurricane, and next is Noel. I wonder if it'll be in time for Christmas. After that, Opal, and it's possible we could see all the way down to the R's, and things are still kind of active off the coast of Africa. Now, let's take a look at there we go, Marilyn. And right now, Maryland's just west of Guadalupe, and the track takes it to the northwest. Now, the winds are 85 miles per hour. That has gone up, and the pressure has dropped to 978 millibars and has dropped a lot in the last several hours, 7 millibars in the last around 4 hours or so. And again, it's moving to the northwest at 13 miles per hour. And if you're keeping track of this, it's at 16.5 north and 62.8 west. And again, that's the 2 a.m. update. And we'll have a 5 o'clock update Eastern time, so make sure you come back and join us, and we'll give you the particulars about 5 a.m. Okay, next we'll take a look at the winds, and right now the tropical storm winds extend about 100, 115 miles out, and the hurricane winds, they're expanding a little bit more over the last day or so, and the storm is moving a little bit further away from the islands, and that's helping to let it get a little bit more organized. We're seeing the pressure drop, and we're seeing a more defined, well, it's hard to see an eye, but they did find an eye when they sent a recon flight out there. So, again, the forecast is the track should take Hurricane Marilyn up close to the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, and maybe just skirt Puerto Rico, and maybe hit directly St. Thomas, and these islands could be right in the direct path of Hurricane Marilyn. And again, it is forecast to maybe intensify slightly, but again, the hurricane force winds, which are good, are in a very compact little area, and maybe it moves fast enough the damage won't be as devastating. Here's the hurricane warnings from Guadalupe all the way up to St. Martin, again, the whole island of Puerto Rico, and St. Thomas and the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands. Now, let's take a close-up look at this. Now, this is a IR shot, and here's you can't see an eye, but you can bet it's somewhere in where the higher cloud tops are. And you can see it's getting more organized now that it's moving a little bit further west and north of the islands, where there's some mountains in that area that has kept it from probably getting as organized as it could earlier today. So the forecast takes it just in the northwest direction, and again, those that are in the path should be taking precautions now. And out further east now, this is where a lot of these storms come from. And these storms are pretty far to the south for this time of the year. Again, we'll start to see things drift to the south when they come off Africa when we get towards the end of hurricane season. But again, south of the Cape Verde Islands, and these tropical disturbances anyway, they're not very organized. We're not expecting them to develop anytime soon, but again, we have to watch them once they get further away and closer to the Caribbean or closer to the warmer waters. Now, further west in the Caribbean, again, a tropical disturbance here moved across the central parts of Central America, and some thunderstorms in that area here. Now, it looks like pretty decent development in that area, and they're not looking for anything in the next several hours. But now let's go further west. Hurricane Ismael, 11 o'clock update here. It's north of Los Mochis, and again it's moving to the north. It's about 80 miles an hour right now, and the forecast takes it up